Recording he did ride. Crambone. Froggy recording he did ride. Crambone. Froggy recording he did ride. With a revolver by his side. Crambone killed why la la lo lo lo. Ah do la la lu lu de wop ba la lu Crambone. Whoa! Froggy recording he did ride. Crambone. Froggy recording he did ride. Crambone. Froggy recording he did ride. Oh, with a revolver by his side. Adiole. Ha! That's the hard part, sonny. Wah do la la do lo de wah la la do Crambone. Alrighty, let's do this. Okay, what's going on, good people? Come on in the room. I said, come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes out all of my prescriptions. He gives me all of my medicine in the room. All right, people, check it out. So I'm gonna come real quick, and that did not come out right. I wanted to do a video real quick and do this show really quick with you guys, because what it is I'm talking about in the subject matter is very important to me. It means a lot to me, and I think that people can get a better understanding of me, what I do, why I do it. So I hope that that everybody can see this and hear this. If y'all can hear me, just put yeah, we can. You bastard, we can hear you just fine. Keep going, tell me something if everything is fine. I know I done had technical difficulties in the past, and I'm hoping that that has been alleviated this time around. This time around, I'm taking no shorts, cause you really wanna get me. There we go, now I can see the chat. This time around, I'm taking no shit, cause you really trying to diss me. Alright, cool. There we go. Okay, so let's dive right in, man. Let me see, the best way to say this is just to say it, I guess. So I'm coming to you guys today, or on tonight, as they say in the church world. I'll be coming to you on tonight from the book of Galatians, chapter 18, verses 7 through 32. It's gonna be a long watch night service, so we're gonna be in here all night. We're not gonna be here all night, but I had a couple of people, and well, actually it's been quite a few people over the past few weeks that have, and actually a couple in the past couple of days too, that have questioned or asked the reason or the purpose behind me wearing this MAGA hat. For those of you who don't know what MAGA is, wait, let me see if I can get it right. Yeah, M-A-G-A. Yeah, who don't know what MAGA is, it is an acronym that the Trump campaign had adopted during his presidential run, and it stood for Make America Great Again. Okay, and that was you know, their mantra, that was their thing, their theme, if you will, and that's what they did, and that's what they ran on. And over that time, that just became part of it, of their thing, and over time it stuck. They had hats, shirts, and all that good stuff. So people will ask me why I wear this hat, and I've had people who've asked me, who've been intelligent enough to come out and ask me, and I've explained it to them. And then I've had people who've just said, like, really, that's what you wearing, dude? Like, you on that? or you bogus for wearing that, or I can't believe you got that hat on, I can't believe you supporting Trump, I can't believe that you wearing that hat, man, you tripping, all that kind of, I've heard it all. So with that being said, I said, well, you know what, I think that it's time for me to basically make a video about it. And like I said, I don't plan to be, or don't care to be, very long, but I definitely want to get my point across as to why I wear this hat. One of the first things about the hat is that you look at it and what does it mean? What does it mean, and why should black people wear it, is what I titled the video. And basically what the hat means is make America great again. It's just that simple. Now, what certain people and certain groups tend to imply is something that's totally different. And I think that that is where the problem is. So when you look at something and you see what it is, I think that people who can actually think for themselves, they can take it for what it is, and they can actually say, well, you know what? How can I make this work best for me? How can I make this work best for us? How can I make it work best for those that are around me? And I think that the hat, and I think that the statement that the hat makes, I think it does. I think it serves a purpose. I think it serves a purpose of, number one, first and foremost, it should give people the opportunity to have a conversation, because it's a controversial hat. It's a controversial statement. It's a controversial slogan. People have taken that to say that make America great again means that white people want black people to be enslaved again. They want them to be back in the cotton fields. I think that was T.I. that said that. It's just a lot of implications that people put on it. And I think they put that on it because of what things have happened in the past, and what people tend to perceive about certain people. And when you have those type of ideas and concepts coming about and people are talking about it, I think that people tend to ride with the negative because it supports the agenda, which is cool because that's what people naturally do. In this case, I would say first and foremost, make America great again. I think it's a relative statement, and it can mean something different for everybody. First and foremost, I think it's something that at the end of the day, when you hear this, when somebody sees this, when it's on a hat, a t-shirt, or a bumper sticker, whatever you want to see it on, I think that it's relative to the person that is reading it. What does make America great again mean to you? And it can be something different for everybody. However, I think that the whole idea of America is something that we should all embrace, because at the end of the day, I consider myself an American. I don't consider myself a foreigner. I don't consider myself somebody who is from Africa. I don't consider that. I consider myself an American. I was born here. My parents were born here. My great-grandparents were born here. My great-great-great-grandparents were born here. I am an American, or just as American as any other American that is in this country that was born here. I've been raised here. I don't see any other background for me and my immediate family, and just at least 3 to 4 generations back of me being anywhere else. So why wouldn't I claim my set, rep my country, rep my city, rep my hood, and rep my block? I should rep my country at the end of the day. So that's one of the things that I think that it means to me, and that I think that everybody that is definitely from America, that are Americans, whether you black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever the case may be, if you are an American, this should mean something to you. Just like anything else, if it's something that's a part of your lineage, part of your background, part of where you're from, your roots, it should mean something. So with that being said, I have established to myself, and of course now to everybody, that one of the things that I like about it is that I am an American, and that I am in America. I know where I'm at. And I think that me wanting to be great myself, and wanting my country to be great as well, or to be the greatest, or striving to be thereof, I think that is equally important as the second part of the statement. So it's like making America great again. Yes, there was a time when America was the greatest country. Now, here's where a lack of ignorance can really cause a lot of confusion and put people in a mindset that is just full of negativity and just, the whole propaganda of, this white and black and racist thing, and this is just a racist statement and a racist comment comes into play. When was America at its best? When was America at its best? And when you're talking about America being at its best, you're talking about America as a country. You're talking about its whole. And we were at our best when there were two things that were present. And these are clear, true facts. Okay? Not how you feel. It's not about your emotions. This is not about what you feel and what you think in your heart and soul and how you don't like what somebody's saying. America was at its greatest when, number one, we were making things and when we were segregated. That's a fact. As a whole, when we were making things and when we were segregated, we were at our best. We were the best at just about everything. So when you're talking about being great or being at your greatest, not to say that that is the greatest America can ever be, but it was one of those times when we were considered the greatest. We were striving and achieving and doing things extremely well. So when you're talking about us and relative to the rest of the world, we were winning, if you will, at that point. There was a time when you're talking about Black Wall Street, when you're talking about just the things that we were doing as a country in those, there you go right there, John Doe, in those 40s and 50s. When you're talking about those times, that's what it was. That's exactly where we were, and that's what we were doing. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to get not necessarily back to that state, but be back on that level? Now, when it comes to just growth, when it comes to just the things that we do as a country, that's all fluid and it should be organic. It should be ever changing and ever evolving into something that is good. However, when you're going the opposite way and you're devolving, then that is a problem. So I think that there's a piece of that era that was extremely good that we can definitely learn from and strive to be again. Can it be better? Absolutely. And that is my expectation as an American, for it to be better. So it's not a thing of necessarily going back in time, but it could definitely be a thing of going back to those things that made us great and made us good at what we were as a country. So that's the other part of that. Another thing is when you're talking about what we do as when it comes to race, when you're talking about black people and white people and where we are as black people and white people, who's a racist, who's not, who's against us, who's for us, all of that, you have to be able to take into account that when you're talking about those things need to come from a factual standpoint. You can't just feel somebody's racist. You can't just feel that somebody is prejudiced. You have to have facts behind that. I think that we are so quick to call, somebody that is not black a racist just because they say something or they disagree with us or they say something we don't like or they disagree with something that we say. If you don't agree with me as a black person, you a racist. If you say something that I don't like, I can call you a racist and just get away with that. And that's a word that we've used so loosely, and it's been a word that we've just thrown around without having substantial evidence to actually use the word and to back it up and support it with facts, that I think that it's watered down the word to make it to where it's almost trivial now. So we just say racist just to say it. Oh, you don't like this, then you racist. Oh, you don't like this, then just like how we use the word coon. You did this, then you ain't like that, then you a coon. You didn't march for Tyrone when he got shot in the street, you a coon then. So you have these different words that you're throwing around that we don't necessarily know the definition of, but we're so quick to use it just because it sounds good. That's the propaganda piece of it. You just saying something just to say it, and you think that if you say it long enough, it'll become true. And that happens. But when it comes to the whole idea of us making America great again, it has to be done with a collective mind and a collective body. And it can't be where you have a particular idea or a particular thought, and that particular idea of thought is just there. And if you disagree with it, then you're the enemy. And I think that's what a lot of liberals do. And I think that's what a lot of people who just lead and think with their emotions do. If you don't agree with me, if you don't co-sign with me, then you're my enemy. And that is a problem for me. Because that means if you can't logically disagree with somebody, if you can't have a difference of opinion and still be able to have a conversation, then if you can't do that, then you're the problem. Plain and simple. You have a problem with me wearing this hat, you should be able to come and have a conversation with me. You have a problem with something that I said, you should be able to come have a conversation with me. You have a problem with something that I've done, you should be able to come have a conversation with me. And it shouldn't necessarily be something about necessarily name calling and you going off or you putting somebody in their place. It should be a conversation of trying to seek to understand why a person did what they did, said what they said, or think the way that they think. And it should be respectful. It just should be. So when you're talking about people that don't do that, you're talking about those people that are dead set against what it is that somebody else does because they don't like it. If you can't dispute what I'm saying using logic, using truth, not your truth, but the truth, because there's only one truth. I don't roll with that. This is my truth, and what my truth is what it is. No. If you can't use logic, the truth, and facts, then you can't dispute what it is that I'm saying. And what it is that I'm saying is just that. It's supported by truth, the truth, logic, and facts. So when you can dispute what I'm saying using those three things, then I'm absolutely open to that. And even if it becomes a thing to where there's a difference of opinion, as long as it's supported with those things, then absolutely that's what it is. But if you can't do that, then all you're doing is going off of your emotion and what you feel and what you believe. And that's not always necessarily the truth. Okay, so that's the other part of that. We have to move past that part as not just a country, but to even, make a more of a microscopic look at it as our people, as us, as black people, because I think that we have it the worst. When it comes to what it is that we think is right and wrong, it's all based on feeling, and it is very seldom and it's very rare that we are using facts and that we are using just outright logic to determine those things. And I think that that's a huge problem for us, and I think that's why we're in a lot of the bad things that we are leading in. I think that's why. So when you're talking about like things that matter to us, that affect us, that impact us the most, you need to realize that those things are what you need to go after to resolve and to try to rectify first, right? It's like if I get a cut on this hand and I get a gunshot on this hand, I'm hurt on both hands. But which one is the most important? This little cut here or the gunshot here? I need to attend to the gunshot first, because that's that one is the most dangerous to my body and to my well-being and to my survival at the moment. So those are the things that you have to be able to focus on. We are just the opposite. We want to focus on everything that is outside or around us and the things that are directly impacting us because they look like us. We want to shy away from that. We want to overlook that. We want to not pay attention to that. And somebody might be sitting and thinking and saying, well, what do you mean? I can give you a couple examples. Number one, when you look at police shootings that involve blacks, right? Police shootings that involve blacks is a huge, or as Trump would say, a huge problem in our country, right? However, there are more people that are dying from black people killing black people than it is from police officers killing black people. Both are problems. Hear that. Which one is more important? Exactly. Black people that are killing black people, it's happening at a higher rate. It's more people suffering from it than it is police officers killing black people. Thing about police officers killing black people, that 1 or 2% or whatever it is, or I know it's less than like 3% of it happening, most of the time it's arguable. Now, there are some that are just dead wrong where the police totally screwed up, but I would say close to, if not more than half of them, are justified based on the law. But we're more concerned about that as opposed to the 26 that just got killed in Chicago over the past weekend, or shot over the past weekend. That's what I mean. So when you're talking about the things that we concern ourselves about the most, like we concern more about this hat and who wears it and what the hat says than actually what is going on with us politically. Because Trump, you may not like him, and who rarely likes every president, who rarely likes their, everything about a person, let alone a politician, let alone the president. Who likes everything about that person? And if you, whatever you don't like, I get it. And you can have valid points. But this here doesn't affect your everyday life. Ray Ray and Man, Nuck, Lil Starter Pistol, and all of them that's out there on your block that's shooting and slinging dope every day, that's affecting your everyday life. And you're more inclined to go after somebody who's wearing this than somebody who's actually right across the street in your trap house. You're more inclined to go after Trump and to say Trump is the reason why you have so many problems than you would to say, hey, I need to worry about the dude that just shot my cousin and them last night on the block, and I know who did it, but I ain't gonna say nothing to the police because snitches get stitches. So that's my thing. When you're talking about those things that directly affect you, I think that you can always have a conversation about any and everything. But I think that the things that you have that impact your life, that is the most immediate, should be the things that get the majority of your time, your energy, and your resources to resolve, to talk about, to have a conversation about, to have ideas about. I think that's where that mindset needs to be. So I say that to say this. What is it about Trump that you don't like? And what is it that's going on in your community, in your neighborhood, that your politicians, your local politicians, have direct impact over that you don't address? Because I see so many people on their Facebooks and on their Instagrams talking about impeach the president, talk about down with Trump, talk about Trump's a racist, Trump is working with the Russians, Trump is the worst president ever, we have an orange president, he's a piece of cheese, he's an orangutan, we need to cut his head off, we need to kill him, we need to get rid of him. But the people who are literally selling your ass down the river, who are literally doing you in by not doing a damn thing for you, are right there in your own neighborhood, smiling at you when it come election time, standing up in the pulpits at the church saying, hey, vote for me again, coming to your block and throwing a little block party at your local park district, giving you some free hot dogs and some backpacks, talking about, yeah, I'm giving back to the community. Those are the people that aren't doing a thing for you. Because those are the people that's not getting more police officers in your neighborhood. Those are the people that are not getting more funding for after school programs to keep your kids off the streets. But this the guy you want to impeach. First, I don't think so. So that's what I think about when I'm wearing this hat, and when people ask me about why I'm wearing this hat, or they criticize me about wearing this hat, or they ridicule me about wearing this hat. Whether they say it to my face or they say it to their own people, or they say it behind my back or behind closed doors, it don't matter. The thing that I want this to do is I want this to begin to provoke free thought. I want people to think for themselves. Because when you start looking at what politicians are doing for you directly, when you start looking at what a politician does and how it impacts you in your everyday life, then you're not going to be so quick to be worried about what's going on with the immigration. Because immigration ain't got nothing to do with what's happening in your own neighborhood. That's my thing. Not that it's equally important, but that should mean something more to you than that. Because people who are coming over here illegally, you can't go do that in other people's in other countries. And you more concerned about speaking about that on your Facebook Live than you are about those people that are suffering and living hand to mouth, that are barely making it every day in your own neighborhood, across from you, underneath you, down the street from you. You more concerned about that than this because it's on TV? I have a problem with that. I have a problem with people being more inclined to go and march and walk down the expressway on the Dan Ryan than they ought to go outside at 10 o'clock at night and call the police and say, hey, these dudes are selling drugs right now on my block. These dudes just got through shooting up this house over here across the street. Yeah, the guys that just jumped on that old man and beat him down and took his money or broke in his house, did a home invasion, yeah, they stay right here. You have people more inclined to not do that, but they're more inclined to get on their Facebook Live and be talking about, yeah, we on the damn ride, shutting it down. Yeah, here we out here. Stop the violence. We through, we down with these pigs. We tired of these police doing us the way they doing us. It's over. We out here with Father Flager. We out here, we shutting it down. We changing things. You ain't changing nothing. Because just like how people were upset about the dude that got killed in Terrortown, that shouldn't have even been a discussion. But it's the flavor of the moment. It's that hot 15 minutes of fame, and you want to go ahead and get your 15 seconds, get your likes up, get your shares up, get people invited to your stream so that you can talk about it. So you want to get some love? What's more important? So that's a great question, Vincent. So why do you support Trump though? You know why I support Trump? Because Trump ain't Clinton. And if that in itself should be a mouthful. That should be more than enough. Plain and simple. When you talking about what the Clintons have done for us as black people, we should have been running to Trump's side. Not necessarily because Trump was better, but just because he wasn't him. He wasn't them. Because at the end of the day, Trump ain't gotta like me because I'm a black person. I don't need my president. I don't need my state reps. I don't need my alderman, my mayor. I don't need them to like me because I'm black. All I need for them to do is to do what's best for me and my community and my family at the end of the day. And for somebody to look at me as a young black man, as a super predator, and want to lock my ass up, I have a problem with that. For somebody to be part of and support of one of the main cheerleaders and spokespeople for the largest incarceration of black folks since slavery, I got a problem with that. And now they cool with it? I got a problem with that. So no, I could care less if Trump calls me a nigga. I could care less if Trump don't like me and I'm not one of his favorites. But at the end of the day, look at what he's doing for business. At the end of the day, he wants to stop people from getting handouts, and he wants to stop people from just getting free shit. Because that's the stuff that what I work for every 2 weeks, I got to pay on that. So I think that that's something that directly affects my family. It affects my neighborhood. It affects my community. And yeah, it ain't perfect. It ain't going to never be perfect. But at the end of the day, you have to start doing different things to get different results. How many years have black folks been voting for Democrats? How many years have black folks been struggling? This is a proven fact. Tommy said this earlier today, or was that yesterday? He said in one of his streams, he said, if you look at some of the high crime areas in our country, they are states, or they are states that are ran by Democrats, and they have a high level of single mothers with children. What does that tell you? So it's not to say that, oh, they to blame for this. It don't even matter at this point. We just got to do something different. Now, here's a fact. There was a time when black folks were Republicans. Didn't know that? Google it. Look it up. There was a time when we were Republicans. Our party was the Republican Party. We didn't start getting on this Democrat thing until good old, what is the name? Lyndon Johnson came in and said, yeah, I'm going to do this and hand y'all out this and give y'all that and give y'all all this good free stuff if y'all go ahead and vote for us. And we did. And look at us now. Tell me how well we're doing. When you look at just what we're doing as just political parties, you look at the Democratic Party, you look at the Republican Party, everybody got their faults. But why not say, let me start going with the people that are going to do the most for me? Let's start holding our politicians accountable and say, hey, if we're going to vote for you, this is what you're going to do. This is the time frame in which you're going to do it in. And if you don't, we're going to vote your ass out of here. No excuses. That's the thing that we need to get. That's the place we need to get to, instead of just trusting somebody because they black, instead of just trusting somebody because they're Democrat and say, yeah, that's who we gonna go with. Trusting somebody because they cool. Trusting somebody because they got on the right shoes. Trusting somebody because they got on the right kind of suit. Trusting somebody because they driving the right kind of car. Because that's all we do. We listen to the lies, because both sides gonna lie to you. Both sides gonna tell you what you want to hear. Oh, we're going to get better schools. Oh, we're going to get better neighborhoods. We're going to get more jobs, and we are going to just turn this thing around, and we're going to get rid of all of this violence and this crime. We're going to do away with it. Just vote for me. They all going to tell you that. But when you look at what it is somebody can actually do and how they're going to do it, when they can give you a plan and you can give them a plan, why not get together and do that? That's the thing that we need to start doing, because that calls for us to start thinking for ourselves. And that's the thing that I want us to do. That's the thing that we all need to do. Understand that somebody's going to tell you what you want to hear, but when you can think for yourself, you can see through the nonsense and you can hold people accountable. And that's what we don't want to do. Because it's easier to sit back and say, just give me something, give me whatever you think. And you giving me scraps. And you giving me scraps for so long that I think that it's steak. You giving me bits and pieces and crumbs off the table that's falling off that you don't even care about, and you making me think, because I've had it for so long, that this is the best shit ever. So it's like, those are the things that you have to change. And the only way you can change what you do is by changing the way you think. And that's what I want people to think. This shouldn't be a bad thing. This shouldn't mean that I'm a bad person. This should not mean that I'm the worst person ever. This should not mean that I'm no good. This should not mean that I'm a race traitor. This should not mean that I'm a coon. This should not mean that. It should mean something that, hey, this person is trying to do something different. That's what it should mean. So when you're talking about, what's wrong with Trump? Well, why would you go with Trump? Or why would you not do it based on what you've seen from other candidates? How long have the Clintons been in politics? And what have they done for us? You look at the 8 years of Obama and his administration. What did he really do for us? And for me, I'm going to tell you why it's so personal for me. Because I'm from Chicago. And at the end of the day, he didn't do a damn thing for that city, for us. For those that live there. For those that are black that live there, he didn't do nothing for us. Hell, he wouldn't even get a special task force, FBI task force to come in and stop these damn killings going on. He wouldn't even do that. And everybody trying to defend him and say, oh, you can't do that. The government frowns upon people doing. That's bullshit. The government has always, over time, put special task force together. How you think they got rid of the Black Panthers? FBI Special Task Force. Now you can say that's back from the 50s. I was talking to my brother about this the other day. Oh, that was back in the 50s. Yeah, you're right. Back in the 70s. Yeah, you're right. That was back in the 70s, man. You can't. Okay, let's go a little sooner. Does anybody remember a certain person, especially if you're from Chicago? You should definitely know who Larry Hoover is. How y'all think Larry Hoover got that extra time federal task force? Plain and simple. So why can't you say, let me assign a special task force to these 3 hot areas, not the whole city, 3 hot areas in the city: South Side, far South Side, Inglewood, West Side. I can put a group, you could put a group of 20 FBI agents and their resources in them 3 areas and make an impact like that in less than 30 days. Why? Because they got resources, because they got better technology. They the government, damn it. So it's like when you have that type of power, but you don't use it because you want to stay out of it, but your people that look like you are steadily suffering, dying, and struggling. I can't condone that. I can't ride with that. At least Trump threatened it a couple of years ago. Obama didn't even mention it. So yeah, I got a problem with that. Because there's people that I know that came up dead because of the violence in Chicago. So it may not hit home to everybody else. It may be something that's controversial to other people. It may be something that's a little, just, oh man, it's just so so dramatic because you so far away from it. But for those of us that live it, that are affected by it directly every single day, I got a problem with that. So it is what it is. So that's why I wear this, because I want people to start thinking for themselves. That's one of the things that Kanye, and at the end of the day, y'all think Kanye crazy, but there's a bit of genius and craziness. That's a fine line. And he hit on it when he said that. People need to start thinking for themselves, politically and otherwise. Plain and simple. So that's why I wear this hat. That's why I say the things that I say. That explains the abrasion on your palm. That's from whatchamacallit, Pet Detective. Anyway, but that's what it was. So I just wanted to do this video really quick. And man, if y'all want to maybe later on this week do a call-in show and talk about it, hit me up, let me know. I'll set it up, and you can ask me personally any questions that you may have about this, and we can talk about it. But I just wanted to do this video to explain to people what it's about and what it is that I'm trying to do. So I hope that this has helped somebody become a better version of themselves. I am Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab. And actually, this is Talk About It Tuesday. I can't remember the last time I was on schedule. That's what's up. But I'm about to go hang out with my lovely wife and have myself a good old time. Peace, and I'm out.